Okay, folks, today is the exact hit of my Chiron return. And not just any Chiron return, but my fifth and final Chiron return until I'm 97 or 98 or whenever the next one is. So I'm considering this whole past year and a half, 2 years, to be a passageway into the second phase of my life. One way I like to think of this period of time is that you are going from being the wounded person to someone who can then heal. Now that sounds awful, high-minded, and prideful. In no way do I consider myself someone who was wounded and now is a healer. I think there are elements of that in all of our lives, but I don't really feel like I flipped a switch. If you have done so successfully, give me a call and explain how you did it. But I do have some thoughts about it, and I am trying to move into that kind of paradigm, as otherworldly as it seems. My thoughts are today that Chiron had a wound that he couldn't heal, as we know. And I'm sitting here meditating a few minutes ago, asking myself, how the heck did this horseman manage to become the greatest healer of all time when he had this agonizing wound of his own? I usually think of his wife, Cariclo, as taking care of him, and that's true, I think, and good and important. But this isn't about Cariclo, this little thing I'm doing here right now. What's it called? A monologue? This is about Chiron. So we can talk about Cariclo another time. She is absolutely crucial. So even with the help, though, he still had to somehow bear the pain. So what I came to was that he was so welcoming of his pain that he didn't deny it, he didn't push it away, and he didn't, most importantly, blame it on others or take it personally. If I can divulge a little bit of mine and many others' problems in this world, when we feel wounded and other people are involved, it is very easy to transpose our wounds, the cause of the wound, onto those people, even when they were really directly involved. Even if someone actually wounds you, you actually don't have to take it personally. There's nothing wrong with taking it personally. It makes perfect sense. But interestingly, I went to 2 different doctors today on my Chiron return, neither for me, which actually does speak to, it was for others. One was for a human and one was for a cat. So that's kind of a good sign that I was going to a healer, not for myself, but for others. I find that auspicious. But when I got the cat in the crate, which I highly dislike doing, I forced the cat into the crate, and it went okay. She's a very good cat. Her name's Cherry. Ironically, actually, this time, her name was originally Chericlo, which is how I used to pronounce Cariclo, Chiron's wife. But for reasons having to do with my daughter, she was renamed Cherry. And then, just to make this point final, her twin sister was named Chloe. So Chericlo was turned into Cherry and Chloe, but now I call Chericlo Cariclo, based on what I feel is the most correct Greek pronunciation. Hopefully I'm correct about that. If not, please correct me. Anyways, let's get off of Cariclo again. I love going to Cariclo, but we can't do that today. Let's just stick on Chiron. So, what happened was, after I got to the vet and we were all settled in, I didn't think I got any scratches. I was like, well, let's just check. So I looked up here and there's like a little scratch right there. It's very small. I was like, oh, I did get scratched. Well, I certainly did not hold it against Cherry. even the tiniest bit, like no fraction of me had any animosity or hard feelings towards Cherry for scratching me. And it's not just because I'm the one who forced her into the cage. It's because she didn't do anything wrong. She was just being herself. And that is what people do. Every person is being themselves. So when you're really acting in a manner that grasps this fully, I believe you can exist and be wounded by others. And you can look at your chart to see where Chiron's in your chart. For me, it's in the 11th house of groups. And so there's things that we won't get into that has kind of accompanied my Chiron return this year, having to do with groups. But when you're living your best life, let us say, you can be wounded by others and not take it personally. If you can somehow manage to do that, then your wound you're not adding suffering to pain. It just is what it is. It's a physical thing, or if it's a psychological thing, or it's a psychic thing, or it's a emotional thing. Whatever it is what it is. It doesn't have to be more. You don't have to heap on suffering upon it. So that is kind of what I'm trying to move into, that kind of place. I don't really know how to very well, and if I'm speaking your language, then you know what I'm talking about. If you have successfully done that, congratulations. I'm so happy for you. I can feel it. Sometimes I can be that, actually. But in general, I haven't made the full turn. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to doing the next couple years or decades, however long it takes, to not take things personally. And that is one thing that I think Chiron can teach us. Interestingly, the first doctor's appointment this morning did end up in an argument about self-esteem. It ended up being about, in part, my self-esteem, how I value my own artistic expression, and which is wrapped up in my self-esteem. And so I didn't remember it was my Chiron return today until later. I was like, if I'd remembered, I actually might have done that conversation, which turned into an argument, differently. But hindsight's 20/20, as we know. And I don't always look ahead to see what my transits are, because I don't want to live that way all the time. I like to look afterwards a lot. But I definitely knew yesterday my Chiron return was today. I just forgot. So if you are in your Chiron return, if you're 48, 49, 50 years old, and around that age, then, and you feel first of all, if you are, then your Chiron's in Aries, like me, and Aries has to do with existential things. So the idea of being itself is very Aries, and Chiron is your greatest wound. So if you are feeling like there's some threat to your existence on a very deep level, not just your life or your blood or your heart, but whatever existence means to you, then you're in good company, and it can be very subtle. But if your threatened existence is tied up in some way to justify your existence, something that gives you meaning, and where Chiron is in your chart can help to elucidate that, then this is a good time for you to figure out how to kind of turn the story, whatever story you've been telling yourself about why you're wounded and who you hold responsible or what you hold responsible. And one way that I'm thinking of that today is just to kind of sum up what I've been talking about. To let the wound be what it is without interpreting it in terms of who caused it or what caused it. Just to accept it and to, this is right. To fully bring it into yourself and feel it. If you don't own that wound and really feel the pain, if you're not able to do that, then it might be difficult to not blame whatever you are blaming. Because it's like if you're saying no and like fighting the pain, then you're automatically you I don't even know how to phrase it. I'm so sorry, but like a million other people could figure this out, what I'm trying to say, and I can't figure it out right now. You're not seeing things clearly, because you're not feeling fully what you are. And so I used the word transpose earlier, transfer your own pain onto some other cause. It doesn't matter what the cause is. I mean, it might matter, you have to deal with it, but you don't have to take it personally. So I guess this is a long way of saying, don't take stuff personally, and see how you can process it by accepting and owning whatever pain you have fully, and seeing how, if that can shift your energy and how you deal with whatever you have been assuming is causing your pain. And if you're 48, 49, 50, good luck. I'm with you, and see you on the other side. Bye.